Hello, angel babies. It's been a minute. You will expect some videos from me going forward. Oh, it's BB, by the way. I have a really special video to make today, and it is a VR to Marlena Teresa, and it is for National Poetry Month. Hashtag National Poetry Month, hashtag Pocket Poem. And I'm really excited to do it. I have anxiety right now. My chest hurts. I don't know if it's just today or it's like doing this poem. I started writing it a few weeks ago and I actually just finished it right now and I'm nervous about it. I think Marlena is such an amazing poet and, comparison is not what we do here, but sometimes you just kind of get in your own head about like what your capabilities are and things like that. So please excuse me if I seem kind of like nervous or out of breath because poetry means so much to me. Poetry is something that I have been interested in my entire life. I started writing poetry as a teenager as a way to express myself. I've mentioned it before. It's kind of like a compulsion. Like I have to get my feelings out and I have to be understood. And the best way that I can do that is through the written word. And it's a great way to be kind of cathartic and do some self-care. And it's also like this beautiful art that people enjoy. I definitely enjoy it. Marlena spoke about maybe doing a video about her favorite poets to read, and I think that's a wonderful idea, and I would love to see it, and I'd love to make a VR to it, so Marlena, I hope you do. I want to thank you for inviting me to do this tag with you. I am going to do kind of the same setup, so I'm going to recite my poem, and I'm also going to show you a deck that in many ways reminds me of my childhood or like the world during my childhood. But I hope that you enjoy, and the poem is very personal to me, as you'll see. I don't know if it'll resonate, but I hope it'll bring up memories of your own youth because that's kind of what it's about. I don't have a name for it yet, so maybe by the time I record the audio for it, I will have one. Young, an original poem by B.B. Byrne. I pray to my ancestors I never forget what it was like to be very young. I pray I never forget the wedding venues I dropped flowers in, the empty banquet corridors with floor-to-ceiling windows and blue carpet. Like snipped strands of hair on the floor, a memory wrapped in ribbon kept in a cedar box. Away from moths and their hungry mouths, foreshadowing dementia. It runs in the family. I pray I never forget the way my mom's barrette smelled, stashed in my 4th grade school desk, always knowing who I was and where I came from, a safety I leaned into like an oak tree, like a crutch, the compassion of my progenitors outweighing the toxicity of their youths, an abnormal attachment. I pray I never forget the Palm Springs condo she won a week's stay in on a radio giveaway. She drove back just to pick me up for the weekend. I hope I never forget Spring Valley Lake, the community pool that stretched what must have been a football field in length, the blue breakfast room I ate cinnamon sugar French toast in with an intricate floral sterling silver fork, the roses to the right of the garden, and the bonsai and Buddha to the left, the smell of my grandmother's oatmeal bar of soap, the athletes, academics, and artists in the family, and how it shaped my world, a sort of quaint refinement with an acute wit, a folk nobility with a heaping side of laughter. I hope I never forget Utah, my cousin's house that felt 100 years old, jumping on a trampoline silhouetted by a backdrop of insisting mountain peaks, being so moved by Cammie singing Rigoletto, a vague memory of a rodeo, playing Clue in the basement, the smell of dirt roads and wheat fields, thinking the Latter-day Saints was my path to walk as a young child in a comfortable chair, finding no internal connection between the stories being told and my spirituality as a whole. Growing up to reflect fondly back on the closeness and the innocence, the imagined heritage that served my little brain, grasping for normalcy. I pray I never forget weekends of salty spray and sandy sidewalks, dark-winged duck and fruity pebbles on surfboards, singing songs at 3, 4, 5 years old with every ounce of fervor I could muster, the understanding that this was my father's native language, and therefore it was mine, existing free, seen, and silly, suspended in a living fantasy sewn together by impenetrable love, intuiting some foreboding that all of this was tinged with tragedy, feeling ripped apart by separation. And I will never forget the yellowish house on Tika Tika Drive in the hills of San Gabriel and its many incarnations. The exuberant parties where drinking was optional and participation was not. Being told to go outside and get dirty. Table games and southern food. Sleepovers where every bed, sofa, and floor was littered with slumbering relations. Eccentricity, silliness, unfettered self-expression. Movement, dance, and music filled our souls, and family were our most cherished companions. The house was where we gathered, but the home was our unyielding devotion to one another. I pray to my ancestors I never forget being so young, that the fears of the unknown were subdued by steadfast and copious love. Driven by their desire to nurture, nourish, and protect, to show me what the world can offer, I pray I carry with me a presence in the moment only a child knows best. I pray I continue to pave a road ahead, which honors the one I've walked. So that was my poem. I hope you enjoyed it. This hashtag is about sharing on any platform that you prefer. So if you are someone who likes to use Instagram or TikTok or writes small poems, I don't know how this poem ended up being so long, but if you want to share in any capacity, I really hope that you do, and I really hope that you tag me because I love to read poetry, as I mentioned before, and I love supporting art of anyone and everyone who makes it. And please remember that when you're making art, it's for you, and it's for your enrichment and your self-expression and your therapy, you know? So make it for the sake of making it, and try not to be so hard on yourself about perfection. Perfection doesn't come with one try, you know? The more you do a thing, especially with writing, the better that you get, and it's kind of the only way. There's no quick, easy way to be a good writer, and I'm finding that myself. So, you know, there are things about my poetry that I'm not always happy with, or that I feel like could be better when I'm looking at the people that I look up to and admire. And then I have to remind myself that I just have to do it, because doing it is half of the importance, right? It's probably most of the importance of why it's happening. And then it's also the only vehicle to improve. So I really hope that you enjoy your National Poetry Month, and please share your pocket poems with me in the comments. I'd really love that. Or anything that this poem maybe brought up for you. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you for being here. Thanks for being my friend. Thanks for being curious. Before I tell you what I have to do, it would really help me out if you could like and subscribe to my channel. But we all know what happens now, because my mom's coming and I gotta go.